I have to re-record this because the original recording of this was glitched, so I couldn't put it up. But since I'm doing legendary enchantments, I figured the second one I would do is the Oath of Jace. So the blue boy gets an oath. Also, he's doing the creepy glowy eyes thing. He really needs to stop doing that. I just realized. And also, he cannot keep his hair normal. Like, he's had like 20 different hairstyles. Can you, like, settle on one? Wardrobe, I understand. Anyway, he's 2 and a blue, and this seems to be a theme with the guys, is that they're like 3 mana. And his enchantment does, when it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. Again, not my favorite thing in the world when it comes to, card draw. It's like you get 3, but you have to get rid of 2 of them, so you have to choose what cards in your hand to get rid of, which is, unless you have like cards that will not help you at all, and a way of getting them back if they will help you later on is kind of annoying. And in a deck with a blue color, that can be even worse, because sometimes it's all stuff you want. Like, it's annoying. And by the way, I should say, for the waste mana versus the normal colorless mana, X, I think, is still the normal colorless and not waste mana. And yes, I'm still harping on that. But at the beginning of your upkeep, scry X, where X is the number of planeswalkers you control. I just used the opportunity because I saw the X and realized, oh, maybe I should say that. But in this case, it has nothing to do with price of tea in China, because this is more with the number of planeswalkers. Now, because of that ability, the deck most likely to see this card would have been my blue scry deck, which would have made the X a 2 because there are 2 planeswalkers in it. I actually checked the last time I did the video. Now, that seems like a really nice thing, except how many planeswalkers are you going to use in a deck? I mean, in order to use all the planeswalkers, you'd have to have a rainbow deck, use all the mana. But at the same time, not all planeswalkers are complementary to each other. So some will make you do one thing, some will make you do another, and you have to decide what you're going to do with what. So, and if you have too many planeswalkers in a deck, that can actually weaken a deck sometimes, depending. I mean, yeah, I cleaned up and put everything. Let's say I somehow managed to get some blue into my Orzhov deck. My Orzhov deck would have the most planeswalkers thinking on it, so I'm going to go through that now. Oh, I forgot I put that in there. A random item I noticed. Another pretty necklace to wear. So let's see. This is the current version of the Orzhov deck, so I don't know how many planeswalkers are in there now. But let's see. Because I used to have like a lot of them in there. Nope, not that pile. And yeah, forgive me for doing this on camera, so to speak. But it's kind of just some... Like, I do these unscripted. So, yeah. I sometimes do things like, hey, let me actually double check that while I'm talking to you guys. In the meantime, as you've probably figured out, this set is kind of a hit or miss for me. Because, I like a lot of the new cards, but that waste mana is really getting under my skin. Fuck, are all my planeswalkers? Because I know I have at least 2 in here. Note I said at least 2. So let's see. This thing used to have like a lot more, but I shifted it around and made it focus more on the Orzhovian abilities. Well, there's 1. Okay, so there's only 2 in this one now. I'd taken out all the others. Orzhov, my Orzhov deck has the only 2 that are remaining are Ajani and Sorin, the original of each. It used to also have the original Lily, original Gideon, and the original Karn. So that would be X5. So, which would have been nice. Great, this is if I could shove blue into this and it was the original build. Card's stuck in there. Because it's that cold that card backs don't work. But at the same time, as I was, saying, this is really dependent on the number of planeswalkers you have in a deck. If you have a blue deck and you're not using any planeswalkers, but it's a scry deck, this card is completely useless. Because instead of it just being an instant of draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards, which there are plenty of other instants that do the same thing, or any other sorcery that does the same thing and it goes poof, this is basically you're stuck with it on the field. So if you magically get a planeswalker, yay, you get the scry ability, but otherwise it's kind of sitting there dead in the water. I mean, the others pretty much benefit planeswalkers when they come in. For example, and I'm actually looking at like all 4 cards. The Nissa one lets you pretty much make it so you can cast planeswalker spells no matter what land you have. The Gideon one adds an extra token, and the Chandra one lets you do 2 damage to pretty much everyone if one comes in. The Jace one is reliant on you already having the planeswalkers out. And obviously, if people start destroying your planeswalkers, you lose the ability slowly but surely. So, yeah, the Jace one actually isn't the best. I actually think it's the worst of the 4. If you were to ask me which one is the best, I'm not sure. Definitely not Jace, but the other 3 are kind of... well... Nissa is very scry, which I like. Gideon gives you tokens, and Chandra lets you nuke something when it comes in. And as for the other effects, well, they're all extremely useful because it either gives your planeswalker a little more life coming in and gets you closer to its nuke. Nissa lets you cast him way more easily, and Chandra lets you hurt people when they come in. So the 3 of them work very well together. I guess Jace can help you find them, but still... It's like, it's not really the best thing in the world. So, yeah, Jace is kind of my least favorite of the quartet right now. They really should have tweaked that ability. But, hey, at least it's not too expensive. I mean, 3 mana for that isn't terrible. I think a few similar instants and sorceries that do the same thing as his entrance ability are about that, so... Not the worst thing in the world for that, but the fact that it's enchantment and you're stuck with it on the field and you may not have planeswalkers for a while is kind of shitty. Again, obviously you read the card and make sure you use it, but if you get this in a draft, you may not be able to use it, and that can be a pain in the ass. So, yeah. Granted, that's kind of true for all 4 cards, let's be honest. But at least the other 4 cards... It's if you get a planeswalker, not you have to have. So they're not as reliant. And if you didn't pull a planeswalker, you're probably not going to be playing the Oaths anyway, let's be honest. So there you go. So that is the Oath of Jace. Next one is the Oath of Gideon. After that is the Oath of Chandra. And again, this thing fucking glitched out as a recording. But at least I got to get a little more detailed into the issues of the Oaths in general, which they are all very reliant on planeswalkers, and if you don't play with planeswalkers generally, or you don't pull them in a draft, then they are kind of dead in the water, all 4 of them. But as for how dead, I say Jace is the one who's the rotting corpse at this point, because it's pretty bad. And again, I really don't like discard abilities, unless they're on other people. Because, you know, when you have that really good hand, you don't want to get rid of anything. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Bye!